Good evening to everybody. I hope everybody's doing all right. I hope you guys are fine. Well, today's going to be more of a philosophical one again. We haven't had those in a while. Take these off. I don't want to be too condescending looking. A couple of things came across my way, and I had to address them. I had to address them. So what I want to say first is, by no means am I a scholar in the religious field. What I am is a person who knows what he believes and can articulate fairly well the basic tenets of what Christians believe. YouTube isn't showing. I wonder why. Let me see. It says it's live. Yep, it probably is not giving a lot what you call it, any update. So let me see if I can find it on a different channel and see if I can view it. If I can find my channel, just so I know that it's playing, because I'd like to know myself. Yeah, it's playing. So that's good. Not quite sure. It might be a bad link. Okay. So, those of you who know, I'll get to him in a minute. I did an entire video about him 2 days ago. If you want to know what my thoughts are on Alec Baldwin, you probably should go check that video out. Let me see if I can find it here and tag you in, or not tag you, but put it in the link here, because if you're wondering about it, I gave my entire take on that Alec Baldwin thing a couple of days ago. So here it is. Let me share, copy, and give it to you right here in the link here. I'm pasting it in the chat so you can take a look at it there. That's the one I did 2 days ago. So today, though, Joe Rogan. This is an older video that I'm going to be tackling. I understand that. I had not heard this before now, though. So excuse me for being late to the party. Excuse me for being late to the party. Yay, fresh out of jail. Welcome back. Let's go, Brandon. Joe Rogan has recently been in the news for the ivermectin thing, and CNN and Gupta and that whole debacle. A very outspoken man, comedian, he says, fighter, kicks really hard. But his take on religion and God and Christianity leaves a lot to be desired, to say the least. It leaves a lot to be desired. So I found 2 videos. They're probably from the same week of podcasting. I had to edit it because of the language, but I got it done. And we'll be breaking it down, going through them, and I'll be giving my 2 cents on what I see his problem as. So to begin, to begin. Those of you who are new or don't know me, yes, I believe God is real. I believe everything that people say you shouldn't believe about God. I believe it. So just if you're in the comment section and you somehow think that, oh, why you believe, you'll eventually find out why, and I've addressed it before. That makes sense. It's always late. Everything is late around here. So when I hear, I let a lot of things that people say slide, but this particular video upset me. It pissed me off, to be honest, because the asinine things that he says and how he says them, more so, is what really got me mad. You can easily say, I don't believe in God. But no, he has to go above and beyond all that to do what you're going to about to see. Okay? So here we go. Add to stream. I'm going to try the smaller screen thing to see how this works out. I'm not sure how it will yet. Not sure if I like it. And if you see it fluttering, it's on purpose for copyright issues in case. All right, so listen carefully. Let's get this going.
I know evolution is the wrong word for there, but as it improves and expands, we are no longer accepting the idea of Satan. Like culturally, Satan was an accepted thing hundreds of years ago. It was parallel. Like if you looked at the mentions of Satan and the mentions of God, they were right up there together. You're blaming Satan on the bad things and you're praising God for the good things. That's no longer the case. Now we just cling to these absurd notions of this one that's watching us all the time, and you gotta sort of peripherally mention it and casually reference it with.
Okay. Let's break it down just a little bit. Satan used to be mentioned a lot more back in the day. Now, before I go any further, oh my. Usually, when you tell people the antithesis to something, they can at least look at it and say, okay, that's bad, that's good. I'll want to do the good thing because now I know what the bad thing will do. Now, today, we equate the devil with something good and God with irrelevancy. Satan used to be talked about a lot back in the day. He said the same par with God, and then all of a sudden, the devil became irrelevant, and all we talk about is this God guy. I would venture to say that's not true. I would venture to say that we have now placed Satan in a place where we don't believe that he has the kind of power that we know he has. And we've looked now at God as this spaghetti monster, like they like to call him. Not talking about the efficacy of Satan in the world today is why we're in the spot we're in today. Just because we don't talk about Satan is why we are in the place today. We don't give him any. We are not speaking about him as we should because we act like if he's not there. There is no such thing. I keep hearing back in the day, when you had this saying, the devil's greatest trick was making people believe that he didn't exist. It worked, apparently, because the great Joe Rogan says we don't talk about Satan no more. It's just about God. He is right. We have stopped reminding people that the devil is real. We don't talk about him, and it's by design. It is by design that the devil doesn't get spoken about. You see, in our world, the devil is he's not all that. We don't need to talk about him. The devil will cause you to focus on, say, hey, you know, but that Jesus guy is a horrible person, blah, 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 blah. I don't exist. I don't, no devil, nothing. Devil didn't make you do that. If there was a God, he wouldn't allow this stuff to happen. He flips stuff around. So even Joe can admit that we don't talk about the devil anymore. We only talk about this ethereal person called God. I'll let him continue.
Without going into detail, and you're allowed to do that because it makes people think, well, you're on the same page as me. You're a God-fearing Christian man like myself. I'm a God-fearing Christian man myself as well. God bless you. God bless you as well. You know, but if you go, Satan is looking out for you. Satan is watching you right now. Satan is just letting the air out of your tires. Like, you go, well, that guy's a you know, like, we've moved past Satan.
I just said it, right? We have moved past Satan. Satan is no longer an issue. Once we can forget Satan and forget God, we'll be much better off. They don't realize that they're not forgetting Satan. They're embracing Satan. They're doing exactly what Satan wants them to do. You know what I mean? They're doing exactly what Satan wants them to do. Hang on a second. Trying to get some quiet here. Doing the exact same thing that Satan wants. He wants you to forget that he's there. It is literally insane what he's saying. We have moved past Satan. I heard him say that, and I thought to myself, he can't really possibly believe what's coming out of his mouth. But then I heard the rest, and I thought, well, it makes complete sense now. I'll let him. The fact that he can say, well, if someone said the devil's looking out for you and the devil gonna find you, and we'll consider that person an idiot. That person used to be a person of character because they've been warning you that Satan is roaming around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. That person used to be the person like John the Baptist that was warning you about Satan. Those people are gone. They've moved past Satan. We don't want to hear about Satan no more. Because if I hear about Satan, then I have to change. Because Satan's bad, and if I do the things that Satan wants, then I must be operating in the same wave. I can't be hearing that. Move past Satan. Let's just focus on this idiot God thing they say. Let him continue.
But we haven't moved past God.
Exactly right.
We haven't moved
the
past
idea
God.
of God. Even if there is some all-knowing entity that is controlling everything and is filled with love and has a grand plan for the universe, they have yet to show themselves.
Hold on. So you admit that the person they put forward in religion is a God that loves all, is all about forgiveness and acceptance. He admits all this. Still wants no part of it because no one can prove it. So I did some looking around. And I asked myself, where did math come from? What possessed the first person to look into math? Where did numbers derive from? If we just literally just came into boom existence, where did math come from? Men just discovered something that was never there before. They are now learning how to harness something that they've created. Is math something outside, since it's not changeable because the outcome's always set? Is it then outside of us? And if it's outside of us, how did it come to be? Because if by reasoning you tell me that the Big Bang is what caused stuff, and the Big Bang itself is not set in stone because things just exploded into being, you can't place it, you can't prove it, but you want us to believe it, but you won't believe in God. Please explain to me where all this logic comes from. If you cannot tell me your origin of your logic, you're just as flawed as you think I am. For all the math that you can put out, all the equations, oh, we found some particles, and you call them particles. We found this and we called it a neutron. You call it a neutron. Now, did you discover it? And if you discovered it, is that its actual name, or is that just the name you've given it? And if that's the name you've given it, is it true? Now, no one can disprove you because you are the one that said you found it. So you can't be proved or disproved. Yet still, you want us who say God was before everything. You want us to prove something that you yourself, in what you believe, cannot prove. You believe in math. You believe in the strictness of it, the definity of it. You believe that. Concrete is what you'll call it. Yet, you cannot tell me how you derived math. You can't tell me. You can't even remotely tell me how you got to the point where you found math. They can't. I don't understand how they can be this, what's the word, disingenuous. How could you not look at your own fallacy and take it to heart, but want to point out, this is the whole, in the Bible with the, speck and log. Talk about the speck over there while you have a log in your eye. Same thing. Same thing. But he says something later on, and I'll point out to you why I believe he believes what he believes. Why I believe that he believes what he believes. Okay.
So this is all just a concept and an idea with no basis in fact. And as we,
it's a concept and a basis is an idea, but there's no fact. Mind you, math is an idea that you have said is fact because you know the outcome. You've created an outcome in this is how you math. If you've created an outcome, anything you create from that point will give you the outcome you want. But if you are saying that you discovered math, why is it that everyone knows it? One. And if you didn't discover math, how did it come about? Neither one of those two things they can give me an answer to. They can't answer me. It's like every human being innately has a process of life. Okay? They want me to believe that the Big Bang happened and it was spontaneous and it happened, right? No rhyme, no reason, it just bam happened. And in that instant, all the sequencing for life took place. And that every species went through the same exact copied response to life. This is what they want you to believe, that without God, a big explosion happened and every life force that came out of that followed the exact same process in life. They all begin and they all end. Every one of them. That's what you expect me to call concrete evidence? That's concrete? Prove to me the Big Bang happened. Show me that it happened. I'm asking you to show me that it happened. Don't just tell me, show me. Prove it. Because if you can prove it, then I'll believe it. Let him continue.
We have found more facts about the nature of reality and the world itself. It seems more and more preposterous with every day. Every day the scientists come up with these new equations that show the way the universe could have possibly been.
You see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? How stupid is this guy? Like, I'm sorry, but ivermectin aside, he's an idiot. Like, honestly, if I have to believe that he has had one too many kicks to the head. This has to be like CTE. You just finished saying these are facts. We have facts on our side. Only to come with this BS. Listen again. Please listen.
These new equations that show the way the universe could have possibly been.
Could have possibly. They come up with new ways to show how it could possibly maybe. That is concrete fact to this guy. That is a better explanation than God. You coming up with a brand new way to explain yourself is better than a concrete thing that's been said for years. Never changes. But your explanation that might be different tomorrow than it was yesterday is factual. Do you see why atheists, agnostics, people who just don't believe in God, period, have a hard time keeping anything straight? You know why they have a hard time keeping things straight? Because everything around their theory changes. I've brought this guy up before, Frank Peretti. And Frank Peretti is a brilliant mind, but the way he puts things is, c'est magnifique. He spoke about a plumb line or a set point of reference. What science lacks is that. You see, they're always looking to disprove something else that they don't like. This is science. Hence why you have multiple genders now. I don't like that. I'm going to set out to prove that I can do something else and try and put it under the guise of science. Or, in other words, witchcraft. I said what I said. Satanic mindset. I said what I said. So Frank said there is a set plumb line for everything that happens. Truth is outside of us. We cannot mess with truth. We can only embrace it, accept it, follow it, believe it. We can't mess with truth because truth itself is not us. Truth is outside. I can't hide it. I can't remove it. It is. Regardless of what I think about it, it's there. Truth. Science, on the other hand, their aim is to try and make man the focus of everything. And the only way to do that is to try and find more and more ways around truth. Because if I can dictate what my next step would be and then say it's right, why do I need God? Why do I need God? You don't. You can make it up yourself. I don't need God. Let Mr. Fact continue.
Been formed, and every day that these guys at the CERN laboratory, the Large Hadron Collider, are discovering these what were at one time theoretical particles, showing them to be true and their calculations to be correct. We have a deeper and deeper understanding of the universe. But we love to think that right now that we're filled with knowledge, and we love to look at ourselves now and look at the past as well. They didn't know back then, but we know now. But if we looked in the past, they would have the same ideas. Exactly. They would look back at those poor monkey people with the bananas, and they go, those fucking dummies, they didn't even know houses yet. We will one day look back at 2015 like, what a bunch of fools. What a bunch of ridiculous people that were still, they had this incredibly complicated society and this wonderful access to information, but yet they were still shackled down by ideology and killing each other over religion and ancient superstitions that
Okay. A lot to digest there. So it's an evolutionist point of view that he takes. Monkey, bananas, all that nonsense, okay? So he's referencing now, we're starting to narrow down on where he is. Monkeys. If if man came from a monkey, prove it. They can't. They'll give you inferences and spin-offs, but they cannot give you factual stuff. Okay. He lives in a world that changes so rapidly that there is zero truth. It's just a wait and see what's next. Everything's a concept. The concept is see what else I can make happen that will benefit me. Make me show up to be right. I do not, for the life of me, understand how people like this take that point of view, can out loud say the stuff they say, and out loud disprove their own point that they're making about us and not hear it. They want something dead solid from us. Meanwhile, all they offer is a rotating table. And nothing sticks. Religion murders people? I'm pretty sure science does too. It's why it's called a practice. All the upgrades in society you've made through medicine kills people. Doctors responsible for more death than anything else. The scientific breakthroughs in food kills more people. Tell me I'm wrong, Joe Rogan. All these medications, that's science, murders people. Abortion, murdering. You show me in history where doctors have been the saving grace of people before using people as their guinea pigs. Show me. For every death you think you can show me about religion, I bet you I can outweigh that by at least 1,000% on the amount of deaths that doctors and science has caused. I'm betting you money I can do that. Experiments upon experiments. You can even take right now. Look at us. Just look at Africa. All the medical misfires they've had there with shots, murder, death, it comes from science. But you believe in it so much because you're seeing, oh, but what we learn from all of that is find every excuse to make that a valid point. But religion, they talk about the Crusades, the Inquisition. They don't talk about Nazi Germany and his scientists that killed Jews. No? That's a whole different thing. That was a social economic thing. That was a political thing, right? No, it was not. You don't talk about all of the medical mishaps that they have from wrong diagnoses. No, you don't talk about that. You don't talk about the mishandling of cases where people could have lived and the doctor practicing kills them. Don't talk about that. You see, he's very selective because he wants his point to come across. Again, religion and Christianity are not the same. Following Jesus and religion are not the same thing. People who follow religion usually do not have a relationship with the Father. Joe Rogan focuses a lot on religion. Why? Because he's been burned by it. How do I know that? Wait.
That dictated their behaviors. Like, what a weird time to be in. They'll look at us now in 2015. They'll say, what a strange time, this adolescent period of enlightenment, where they're still they're still concentrating on stupid. President of the United States can openly talk about God, and no one goes, what is God? What are you saying?
Here we go.
Like, what are you saying? Do you think Jesus came back from the dead? What do you think? Do you think someone walked on water? Do you believe in the literal translation? Are you an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy? Well, it's the New Testament. No, well, the New Testament was made by Constantine, who was a Roman emperor who wasn't even Christian.
Oh, my word. You know, the sad thing about this whole deal is, oh, my word. The sad thing about all of it is that he genuinely believes what he's saying. The New Testament was written by Constantine because he wasn't even a Christian. Just let him continue. Just let him continue.
He didn't even believe it. He became a Christian on his deathbed. He
just went straight Joe Biden there for a minute.
Like, that's when he became a Christian. Like, all these people that are like really into the New Testament, and like, I'll talk about Old Testament shit, and people get mad at me on Twitter. They'll send me this hate text. You understand what the difference is between the Old Testament and the New Testament? Because the New Testament is it's created by a bishop and an emperor. That's a fact.
That's a fact. The New Testament was written by a bishop and an emperor. That's a fact. Joe Rogan says that's a fact. Now, okay. So, that's a fact. I wonder something. So, if he says it was written by Constantine, all right, let's take a look at something here. Let's find out something. Emperor Constantine was born in 306 AD, right? So he wants us to now keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I want you to understand that this is what he's thinking. Okay? Okay. Just keep something in mind here. That Constantine the Great, the emperor, the Roman emperor, is who he thinks helped write the New Testament. The New Testament. Just wait.
That's like established religious fact.
It's established religious fact. So, Joe, is religion factual or not, Joe? It's okay. Okay. Let me continue.
Like everyone knows where it came from.
Everybody
and not
knows.
only that, it was written hundreds of years after the death of Jesus.
It was written hundreds of years after the death of Jesus. Mm. Okay. Constantine wrote the New Testament. It was written hundreds of years after Jesus. He was an emperor, a Roman emperor. It was written hundreds of years after the death of Jesus. My question is this. Why would a Roman write a story about a Jew being the son of God and going against the Roman Empire? Just a question. It's a simple one. I think it's a simple question. You want me to believe that a Roman head who did not like the Jews somehow created a story about a Jew that somehow linked specifically with the Old Testament about a Jew who went against the Roman Empire, said that he was the Messiah to be persecuted, and show a couple of other Romans believing him, allowing him to get out of a tomb under Roman watch, and that goes viral. You want me to believe that a Roman head did that? Wrote the entire New Testament because was that him trying to be Stan Lee? Like, I'm honestly trying to figure how in the world that makes any sense. He would literally have to go against every fabric of his history to do this. Oh, but it was him and a bishop that came up with it. A bishop. Hold on. Where did the idea of a bishop show up? Better yet, if a bishop and the emperor wrote the New Testament, shouldn't the bishop have an idea of what his title was and what that meant? Shouldn't he have already a defined religion following? What was he following to be called a bishop? Just that's magical fairy dust in Joe Rogan land. Of course, he won't address because it's religious fact, and in his terms.
So what are you talking about?
Yeah, what
if
are
you're
you
talking
talking
the
about?
old stuff, you got to go deep. Go to the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Mhm.
Go to the most ridiculous aspects of that and tell me you basing your life on that?
Yeah.
Because that's even more preposterous. They found them in clay pots in Qumran, written on animal skins. These people thought the world was flat and the sun was 17 miles away.
Said no one ever in history, because they didn't have that kind of measurement. They journeyed by days. No, they journeyed by days. But I digress. The Bible specifically mentions how the earth was. Anyone who thought it was flat was never a believer. The Lord already wrote out. He wrote it out. How everything was. It's not hidden. It's in the Bible. It's written out right there. You can literally go to the Bible and find everything that scientists are now saying. Everything. Everything. So yes, I will trust parchment over you. The same way you trust that math from the beginning is correct. The same way you will believe that science is already based on something set. You say it's fixed, but you still say it's evolving. That I must believe, that it's fixed and evolving. But Jesus and God, who has never changed, that I shouldn't believe. Gotcha, Joe. Gotcha.
And we're gonna, they did, they really did. And we're gonna, this is how we're gonna live our lives. This is it. This is all the facts we need. The Large Hadron Collider, CERN, Stephen Hawking's quantum physics, Neil deGrasse Tyson, those dudes with their telescopes. No, we're gonna base it on leather skins and charcoal ink.
Right.
Like, really? That's the conversation we're having when we're talking about ideological religions.
That was a thing of beauty, by the way.
Well, thanks.
That was a thing of beauty.
What's what it is. I mean, and people think, well, you're an atheist, you're an asshole, what do you believe in? I had a guy yell at me at a comedy club once because I did this bit about Scientology. I did this bit about Scientology, about watching a Scientology documentary with my mom, who made me go to Catholic school, and how my mom thinks Scientology is religion.
There it is. I have told you before, and I think most of you will remember, I have told you, everybody that's come through and said they don't believe in God, somewhere along the line, they were burned, either by the church, by a pastor, by somebody in the body. They were burned, and that skewed everything for them. That is exactly what happened to Joe Rogan. Listen carefully to how he says this. Let's listen. I'm going to back it up. Watch.
Because I did this bit about Scientology. I did this bit about Scientology, about watching a Scientology documentary with my mom, who made me go to Catholic school.
Who made
my
me
mom
go.
Thinks Scientology is ridiculous. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Exactly.
And this guy, like,
made him go to Catholic school. I keep telling you, words, the way what a person says matters. She made him go to Catholic school. Oddly enough, the issue he has is with the layout of almost exactly Catholic religion. The bishop, the way the religion is set out, the crusades, Constantine.
Yo, what do you believe in? Well, what do you believe in? Like, what, do I have to believe in something?
Right.
You obviously do. You believe in science. You believe in science over God. You literally are saying that. So yeah, you do believe in something. What are you talking about? Yeah, you believe in science. That's kind of obvious.
Do I have to believe? I believe in everything that's been proven. I believe that this is made out of wood. And when I'm proven wrong,
Right. You
When-
change your
yeah,
mind.
yeah,
That's back to the jujitsu thing again.
yeah,
But when you also think about it, what an unbelievable arrogance to think that you know the will of the creator of the universe. You know what he wants you to do. You know where he wants you to put your genitals. I mean, like you said, in philosophy, it's called the problem of induction, or looking at the past resembling the past. And we will look back. There's absolutely no question in my mind that you're correct. And we will say, wow, you believe this. How could we possibly have believed this? But what's interesting to me is we know that will happen. Like, we know that will happen. And it's an opportunity for us to reflect and say, wow, are we being arrogant right now?
Yeah, very, very, very arrogant. Like the epitome of arrogance. The epitome of arrogance. Thank you. The epitome of arrogance is what you are, Joe. Condescending arrogance. This is the one where he continues.
I mean, because Christianity, at the end of the day, with no proof, everything is mythology. Everything with no proof. With proof, then you examine the proof. It's super simple. And anybody that argues against that is you're just biased.
Like you. Okay. How many people witnessed Jesus on the cross? How many people witnessed him do countless things? Raise people. There were hundreds there at Lazarus' resurrection. When he brought Lazarus out, there were myriads of people. There were still some that looked at that and said, not true. I don't need to believe that. They had not just, was it 4 days? 3 days dead. Sitting in there, dead. They knew that man was dead. They would literally see him walk out after Jesus said, walk out. And they saw that and still didn't believe. Still didn't believe. Thomas saw Jesus die. He witnessed it. He knew Jesus was dead. Yet when the man showed up in front of him, like right there, dead center, bam, Jesus. How do I know it's you? Let me get some more. That is the human condition. So no, Joe, giving you anything concrete will not persuade you. Your belief will stop you. You do not want to believe. Here's the problem. Belief in what Jesus wants you to do requires you to stop believing completely what you want to do. And you strike me as the kind of person that does not want to stop doing what they do because you love control over your own life. You love this idea that as a human, I am in charge of my future. When I die, I'm in charge of everything. Not the one that built you, just you. I don't want people getting it confused that I'm somehow now in favor of someone else controlling me. I'm in favor of God controlling me. Get it? Don't get it twisted. I am not in favor of man controlling me, which is government. I'm not that. God, my creator, built me from nothing. He's the one in charge of me. Joe will never believe what he refuses to believe. All you have to do is look at a baby. Literally, all you have to do is look at a baby. Every baby comes out the exact same way. What do I mean by that? Helpless. Helpless. There hasn't been one baby born, not a single child born, that comes out completely independent. Not one. In the entirety of the universe, not one. There is ample example in this world of a greater creator. Joe just does not want to see that. Because in order to see that, he has to forego what he believes. He will not forego what he believes. And I think it's because he was burned as a youth with the church.
You have your own ideas. If you have some proof that there was a God, that this God had one son and he made this son come down and get the beat out of him and nailed to a board so that we could all have no sin. Can you show me some studies? Do you have a box of evidence that you can pull out and we can examine all the different pieces?
Yes, the Bible. The Bible. It's called the Bible, Joe. You are literally asking for something we've given you that you don't want to go through. You do not want to decipher it. You don't want to go through it at all with a fine-tooth comb. We will give you the evidence. You don't want to watch it. But we must somehow give you something even greater than that. What? If you ask me for evidence and I give you the exact thing you're asking for, and you look at it and said, well, that's not enough, and you put it aside, never having looked at it, you don't want the evidence. You don't want that. You want something else to make your ears hear what you want to hear. You don't want evidence. You do not want evidence. You want something to refresh your view.
Points to the undeniable conclusion that that's true.
You're alive, Joe. Explain to me the eye. Have any scientist explain the eye to you? I always go back to this. Have any scientist explain the eye? The process, how quickly it responds, what it actually does, and have them physically explain how it's possible. Just start there. Nothing else, the eye. Explain the eye to me. I challenge anybody in this room right now, and anybody that will watch this in the future, ask any scientist to explain, literally explain the eye, and tell you why it does what it does and how it's able to do what it does. No other body part, just the eye. Start with the eye. I'll let him continue.
If you don't, then it's a myth. Then you're believing mythology. Doesn't mean it's not real, but if you
All right, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm gonna back this up. I have to hear this one more time.
Doesn't mean it's not real, but if you don't, then it's a myth. Then you're believing mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean it's not real.
Again, you got to go to, okay. Myth. Okay. A popular belief or tradition that has grown up around something or someone. It's based on historical events and serves to unfold as part of the worldview to explain a practice, belief, or a natural phenomenon. Unfounded or false notion. Imaginary, unverifiable existence. It's a myth. It doesn't mean it's not real. You see why he's a moron? Do you see why I think he got kicked by his own foot one time too many? Do you see why I believe that somehow CTE and mental retardation has set in with this man? He can literally say, you believe in a myth. It doesn't mean it's not true. I thought so too, Tom, but apparently we are wrong. It can be a myth that's completely true. I'll let him continue.
But if you put all your eggs in that basket and you don't have any proof at all, well, you're entering into this weird world where you don't pay attention to it. You're entering into this weird world where you ignore certain aspects of things because you've decided what is and what isn't.
No, I haven't decided what is and what isn't. God already did that, which is why when man messes with stuff, it goes awry. The good thing about the Bible is when you follow it, you don't have to worry about what Jack or Jill does, because if Jack and Jill is doing what the Bible say and Frank is doing what the Bible says, then guess what? Both Jack, Jill, and Frank are doing the same thing. Ain't that something?
That's not thinking.
That is thinking.
That's not thinking. That's like it's convenient cookie holder placement of ideas.
Kind of like your mindset of life. You are literally living what you're accusing other people of. If you really want to think, then should you not embrace the myth side of things and weigh it against what happens? You take all of it, right? You're a free thinker, you say. You're a free thinker. So you should take everything, myth, lies, all of it, and explore all of it in terms of in detail, comb through it. But you won't do that with the Bible. You know why? The Bible has this weird thing. It contains something we call the Word. The Word has a very specific purpose, and that is to convict. It convicts you. Do you want to know why people avoid reading it and avoid combing through it? Conviction. Usually the people that don't want to go through it is because they are holding on to something that they really want. That's why they won't comb through it. It will force you out of you and into him. And people don't want that because they lose control. Joe is going to lose control if he does that.
It's not thinking. Because if you're thinking, you can't accept it. If you're thinking,
there he
go,
goes.
What? He came back from the dead?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever done that? 3 days? Came back from the dead.
Yeah, people have done it. Oddly enough, people have done it. People have done it. A man came back from the dead after 2 days. The family buried him. 2 days. In India. It happened in Germany. It has happened multiple times. So yeah, it's quite possible, Joe. Yeah. Outside of how it happened with Jesus, it has happened. Whoa. So no, it's not insane.
I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. It's happened.
I mean, that's what people would do normally.
No, not
But-
normally, because you know what we would do? Look at real life. Countless stories of people who die and come back. Joe is just being he's on purpose now being an idiot. He's on purpose now being an idiot.
You know, like my kid had a function today, and I went to this function, and they're all we're singing "God Bless America," and there's like something about heaven in there, and their school prayer. I'm like, well, okay, are we teaching people? We're teaching kids things, right? What's heaven? Where is this? Is this a real thing? Or we
Maybe, Joe, if you read the Bible, you'd understand. His questioning alone tells you that he has never, 0 times, picked up the Bible. He's quick to accuse it, discredit it, scream at it, never read it. That's like people who call me Uncle Tom, never read the book. They're so dumb that they would read the book, they would understand Uncle Tom wasn't the bad guy and it's not an insult. But Joe Rogan, Mr. Kick himself, never read the book, or he would understand what heaven was. But he doesn't want to read the book because, like I said, he does not want to be convicted.
just pretending heaven's real so the kids feel good and they can get through 12th grade?
Yeah, kind of like pretending that you're a girl when you're a boy, so you feel good. Science, you know, that thing you believe in. I feel like a woman, so I'm going to dress like a woman, even though I'm a man. Science. Tell me the difference, Joe. I feel so much like a woman, I'm going to go cut my thing off. In this moment of insanity, I'm going to go cut my thing off. Oh, crap. A year later, I shouldn't have done that. Science. Because it's so cut and dry. No pun intended.
What are we doing here? What are we doing? You know, we have to make shit up about stuff that we don't know instead of just accepting what we do know. Instead of just celebrating and accepting what we know about life, we have to pretend that there's a heaven and you're going to go to heaven when you die. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're teaching my kid nonsense. Why don't you teach him some Rumpelstiltskin shit? Why don't you make some shit up about leprechauns?
You have. You know, mythology. Freaking Marvel. You did. Man has done that. Comic books, movies, lies, Santa Claus, Rumpelstiltskin, gender identity. You've made that stuff up already. Why are you complaining that the Bible does that when you do the exact same thing on a grand scale? You literally think that Superman makes for a great story, and you want to translate that into human life by saying we should all be a hero. That mythological creature you're okay with. Man-made, proven. That's okay. You can teach kids that. You can show kids that. Engulf them in Halloween, engulf them in Marvel and DC and all that nonsense. But the Bible is where you draw the line. Do you see why I think this guy is a little bit off his rocker? Like there's something not firing upstairs, or that I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
You're making shit up about heaven. I'm not saying heaven doesn't exist, but you're just making it up. You're teaching.
Okay, again, you're making it up. It's not to say that I don't believe in heaven, but you're making it up. Does he listen to himself? This man cannot be for real, bro. He can't be for real.
A school, in a class, you're making them, and then in heaven, God in heaven. God in heaven? Where's heaven? Who's God? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're making up some shit. You're making up some shit in a school. Like, and you don't, okay, like if the kid comes to you, like, where is heaven on a map? Can you,
What kid asks that? Okay, I've been around children. Ain't no child ever asked me, where is heaven on a map? Even children are not that stupid, Joe. Children are not as dumb as you. Children, infants are not as slow as you are. Do not place your stupidity on innocent children. That's wrong. That's abuse. I was going to say that maybe someone in that Catholic school did him wrong physically. Maybe. No one can be this aggravated at the Bible without something really egregious happening to them. I have seen it over and over and over again. It takes one or two people to do something really, really, really dark, and you brand the entire thing on that one person. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying that it happened. I am saying I would be hard pressed to believe it didn't happen. I would be hard pressed.
can you take me to, do we have a Google Earth? Can we check out heaven? Can I see the harp? Oh, well, no, you know.
See the harp. What harp? What are you even talking about? Again, you've never read the book, have you, Joe? You're like that idiot in class that got a book report to do, and you flip the book over on his back and quickly wrote the thing down, and the teacher calls you up to give your actual verbal assessment of the book, and your dumb behind is up there saying, that would be you. Critiquing a book you ain't never read, touched, picked up, looked at, nothing. But you're quick to critique it. Never picked it up. Never read through it. Never spoke to the owner of the book. Never spoke to the author. Never spoke to the person that the whole book is about. But you're quick to ridicule it. And you know what you call that, Joe? There is a word for that. There is a word for that, and that's ignorance. You are an ignorant human being. A self-centered, ignorant human being. Plain and simple.
No, heaven is our heavenly Father. That was another thing. Heavenly Father, like our heavenly Father. Really, this is what we're teaching.
Here comes the beta side to Joe Rogan. In case you didn't think he had one, oh, he has a big beta side.
Heavenly fathers. How come he's not a chick? You know, moms are usually better at like raising you than dad.
Really? And here's why moms are better at raising you than dads.
As dad's working all the time.
It is weird.
Dad's working all day. Like your dad, probably? You have a bone to pick with your pops, probably, there, Joe? I'm just judging by how you speak about fathers. Maybe you don't like your dad. Maybe he wasn't around. Maybe you view your father the same way you view the church, huh? Inconsequential, worthless, harmful, hurt you? Why isn't God a chick? You see, I listen to what people say. And when I hear him talk, I hear a lot of hurt. In his life, he has been burned by someone or multiple people in what he would consider the church. And he has taken that to the extreme. And he figured if he can make fun of it, belittle it, he will get the upper hand on it. What he fails to realize is that you can't ridicule truth to gain an upper hand on truth. Truth will always have the upper hand on you because it doesn't change, like you're fickle behind. God will not change because you don't like him. God doesn't stop being God because you don't believe. God's not going to stop his plans in the dirt because, oh goodness, Joe Rogan doesn't believe in me. Well, I gotta redo the whole script now. Somebody famous doesn't believe in me. Oh, whatever. I can't go back to Earth now. I can't save the Earth now. I have to redo everything. I might as well eradicate myself because Joe Rogan doesn't believe in me. That's exactly how that fool sounds when I hear him talk. Hang on a second. I want to find one specific spot here. If I can find it. I can't find a specific one. Yeah. Here we go. All right. So enough of Joe. Let me see if you finish one more thing.
That when you have a kid that you do nothing but lie to them their first 10 years of their life, like about Santa Claus, bunny rabbits, Jesus, monsters.
Well, the Jesus thing keeps going. That's the weirdest part about it. And again, it's just not saying that Jesus isn't real. It's just saying
you lie, but it's not to say, okay, Joe, I can't take any more of you. I'm done. There's some stupidity I can't take. This man, on the other hand, says exactly what I want to say, but he says it a little bit more. He has couth. Today I don't have couth. Let Frank speak. Frank, please tell us.
Purpose, value. I don't really have any reason for being here. I'm an accident. I'm meaningless. Second notch on the line is the idea. I'm going to find more to myself. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. You can go to India and contemplate your navel and things like that. You can enroll in a motivational course at the company where you work, or you can get into this, what man can conceive, he can achieve. So you get involved in all that stuff. But when you really get into this human potential, I'm going to find it somewhere. You end up over here in New Age occultism. It becomes something spiritual. The idea, yes, we're actually divine. The New Agers will tell you that. Our problem is ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
We're all God.
We just don't know it.
That we were God. That's some kind of God that forgets that he's God. And what good is that going to do? You remember your God if you forget it again. But no, we're actually all divine. There's this divine potential in every one of us. We just have to discover our higher self. And so they get into the crystals and the tarot cards and the higher self and the meditation. They do all that stuff because they were looking after trying to find that human potential that is actually something spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get into real heavy New Age occultism, you're actually dealing with spiritual beings out there.
Mm-hmm.
They're into channeling and so forth. This channeler goes into some trance, and then this spirit enters their body, speaks through them, begins to tell them all kinds of neat. You're getting into an area over here where you're actually starting to mess around with demonic spirits. Now you're into witchcraft. Witchcraft. What is witchcraft? Well, witchcraft is seeking after power. The goal of witchcraft is power. White magic, black magic, it doesn't matter. You're after power. Power over other people, power over your situation, power to manipulate reality, power to be, as it were, God.
Yep.
So you tap into the natural forces. You tap into the spiritual forces through spells, potions, incantations, lighting candles, doing all these different things. You get yourself a few familiar spirits, these spirit guides that come and help you out, or manipulate you or use you until you get into such bondage that you cannot escape it. And then you end up over here at the last step on the line. And that's what we hear so much about today. And that is Satanism.
Yep.
Satanism. Well, that's naturally the way we're going. We want to do what Satan wanted to do in the very beginning. I want to run my own show, do my own thing. And now Satan is coming along and saying, I'll help you. I'll give you all the power you need. And whoop, here we go. This is where man ends up.
Yep.
This is where our young people are ending up. We started over here by telling them, young person, you're nothing but an accident. There are no absolutes. There are no absolute morals. No one has any right to tell you what to believe or what to do. So go ahead, do whatever you want. Boom, this is where they're ending up. Because rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
See, what Joe doesn't realize is that he's doing exactly what Satan wants. He thinks that Satan isn't being spoken about. You can just go to YouTube and type in Frank Peretti, where I would start for you, Mildred, and I'll find it for you right now. And I'll put it in the link. Where you want to start, he has a book called This Present Darkness, okay? And This Present Darkness is probably one of the most awesome books that you could possibly read. It is spectacular on every possible front. Here is the first part of The Chair. It's called The Chair. And this is part 2 of The Chair. Okay? Now, the thing that Joe Rogan is ignoring and is willfully going into, whether he knows it or not, and I think he knows some of it, but he is directly going down the road that the devil wants him to go. You don't need God. God, what God? What are you even talking about? And they've stopped talking about the devil. You know, the devil, I don't mean, what, the devil doesn't. He wants you to believe that. He doesn't want the title of he made you do it. He wants you to believe that you did all of this by yourself. But that is exactly how the devil functions. You don't need God. You can do it yourself. You don't even need the devil. That's how slick that guy is. You don't need the devil. No. I mean, you can worship me if you want. I mean, I have a sect for that. But the truth of the matter is you don't even need God. God is overrated. Trust me, you can do this yourself. You have all the power in the world. You don't need God. And what we don't realize when that happens is that we're literally going the same route that Satan went. And what we're doing then is following Satan. That's why he's not being spoken about. He is smarter than that. He's not going to put himself as the reason why you think the way you think. He will make it so that you believe you're coming up with this by yourself. That's how sad Joe Rogan's situation is. It may have developed because of a hurt. It may have developed because of anger. It may have happened because of his situation. But willful ignorance is where he determined to stay. Because I know for a fact that countless people have talked to him about this. He has been speaking to people, and he has refused to pick up the book. He refused. Because he prefers to believe that he is in charge. It is better for him to believe he is in charge. Because if he believes he's in charge, he doesn't have to answer to anybody, especially the God of the universe. Therein lies where we are today. Man has made it his point to be God, and the devil is more than happy to help you believe that. He is more than happy to help you believe it. In any case, I want to leave you with this, okay? Anybody that you know that's trying to find meaning, purpose, and all that, do not direct them to some self-help book. Direct them to the creator of their being. Because whether we want to believe it or not, or we may say, well, I've never heard God talk and I've never heard. Trust me, you've heard, but the majority of the time we ignore. Sometimes, and I say this too, some people need a prod. Some people need a tap. People like me, 2x4. So some of us just need a 2x4. A straight up upside the head. So we would catch our attention and smack us back into reality. Some of us need that. And I know Tom is like that too. Tom and I share such a almost symbiotic history. We're both kind of stubborn men, and God had to use one of the most profound 2x4s to get our attention. He had to use it. But for each, he has a way to answer. We just don't go to him to get it. If you have somebody or know somebody, or you yourself are trying to find an answer out of something or find meaning and all that stuff, you don't need to find meaning in life, because there's no meaning in life. There is meaning in Christ. That's where meaning is. Living life in Christ will automatically feel fulfilled. You get me? Life itself will not give you meaning. Anything outside of Christ will not give you meaning. It'll give you something to do, but it ain't going to give you meaning. You find meaning in a person. The person is Christ. Once you found him, whatever you do after that will feel like it has meaning, because you're within meaning. The same thing when you function in truth, which is Christ. You don't have to worry about right, wrong, because you're functioning from a place that's outside of you. Truth doesn't change because I wake up one morning sad. Oh, the truth about I hate life and I'm just worthless. But that's not the truth. The truth is outside of you. It doesn't change. You have to go to truth. Truth doesn't come to you and adjust its point position because you want it to move. Every day, I have to embrace truth. I don't drag truth to where I am. I don't take truth around and say, wherever I change my... No. I follow truth. Truth doesn't follow me. Because truth is outside of my control. It's that simple. Joe Rogan is trying to avoid truth, and it will bite him. Unfortunately, or fortunately. Please, 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 please know this. When you go to him, God, I mean, he will do exactly what has to be done for you and to you. He knows. He knows you in and out. He's not going to push you to the point of suicide, and he's not going to push you to the point of distance. He knows exactly what to do. We lack because we don't go asking. Go ask. Go ask. Ask until you get an answer. If we could nag about anything, nag that. Be like the woman and the judge, where she kept going for justice, going. You'll get an answer. Squeaky wheel will apply to all kinds of things, but for some reason we give up talking to God so easily. Well, I prayed twice and I didn't get no answer. Twice, huh? Wow, that's a record. That's a record. David wrote 39 Psalms. That's a lot of prayers. A lot of them had to do it the same thing. Get rid of my enemy. 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 He kept going back because it's a relationship. You'll discover it, but you got to start. You can't dismiss it like Joe did. Hurt and all you have to pursue. because he's pursuing. Because he's pursuing. There you go. Exactly. So thank you guys for showing up. We had a fairly good crowd. Still shadow banned, of course. So as many of you that are on Facebook, if you can run over to my YouTube and just hit the like button and jump back off. You can leave the Facebook feed after this. Just go to my YouTube channel and click that like button for me. Just pop it up so it can get some better algorithm flowing so that more of my subscribers can actually see my videos. That would be helpful. And if any of you don't want to do the, want to help in any way, fund anything, that's my Cash App there. That'll be scrolling across the bottom for the next 2 minutes or so. I also have a Venmo. I'll pop that on in a minute. The GoFundMe is almost at its limit. Once it hits the limit, I'll take it down. Feel free to share that still. It's still up. But I'm trying to make this my goal. This will be my thing. I believe I'm called to do this. And if I'm called to do this, he will find a way to make it continue. I know he will. And I really appreciate you guys being a part of this. This has been a roller coaster ride for me. The devil has tried to do everything in his power to take me off of this. One of these days, I'll tell you the backstory of what has been happening this last year. And exactly what kind of mental gymnastics I've had to put myself through to make it through. And I think it's important that you know. But he has done a lot to try and keep me from doing what I need to do. And God's still been bringing people, bringing friends, bringing supporters around me to continue doing what I'm doing. And I really, 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 really appreciate you guys. I really do. So thanks again for tuning in. Remember, if you're on Facebook, jump over to my YouTube, hit the like button, bump it up a little, and get it moving. I'll try and be on tomorrow. What I want to talk about tomorrow, I'm working a little bit tomorrow, doing some stuff. So what I want to deal with tomorrow, and I'm in this phase right now in this next couple of days of more philosophical, spiritual things. I want to talk a lot about what we see happening with the mandates and what it means for people who believe in God. Because I think somehow we are still thinking this patriot thing. That's fine. But we have something bigger to attain to that's outside of the patriot mindset. The patriot mindset comes out of a result of it. The forefathers, they believed in God. They believed that God gave them freedom, hence why they fought. But when you just look at freedom as freedom and not because it's God-given, you fight less. You fight less. We need to fight more. So I'll be back tomorrow, probably around the same time, and we'll deal with that. But thank you for tuning in, all of you that showed up. Really, really appreciate all your support. And I look forward to us growing this venue together. You guys are greatly appreciated. I love you. Have a great night. And remember that wisdom calls to you from the street. Find wisdom. Peace.